Onatamira here wood. No try foot nas. Maneraga naka wana Zimbabwe. Mboya imbichana timbo kurukura namo. I want to talk today about developments that are happening in Zimbabwe. As I've always maintained and mentioned on this platform, that if we look, Mkoma McDonald Mbofana, how are you? Anzi semrai drura Mkoma Shapiro Msati Matanga. Regaiti semrai drura. Una diri, oh, sorry, something wrong. Diri ora iro, vano garamu diri ora rembanje, vano garam diri ora iro, vano garam diri ora rembanje, garam diri vako mana, vano garam diri ora rembanje, vano garam diri satambe navo, vano garam diri ora rembanje, no garam diri ora vako mana, diri ora rembanje, vano garam diri ora iro, vano garam diri ora rembanje, no garam diri ora iro, vano garam diri ora rembanje, no garam diri vako mana, vano garam diri ora rembanje, no garam diri musatambe navo, vano garam diri ora rembanje, no garam diri ora vako mana, diri ora rembanje, vano garam diri ora iro, vano garam diri ora rembanje, no garam diri vako mana, vano garam diri ora rembanje, vano garam diri ora vako mana. As you drink water and sing well, ameno zvirikuitika ipapo. Regai tingozisiya kumusiki, nyadenga vakatisika. Regai nditi nhasi 28 July 2023. Today I am talking about things that I've spoken about on daily basis. First of all, I know you've got a lot of questions concerning what has happened in Zimbabwe flat, especially the judgment for the 12 members of parliament for 𝗀𝗵𝗿, which were barred from contesting this coming election. Sometimes people don't understand that such judgments, they don't just impact on opposition political party, they even impact on the ruling party. Do you know that the whole of Mashonaland West ZANU-PF candidates, they submitted their nomination papers after 4 o'clock. That means all ZANU-PF Mashonaland West candidates are not supposed to take part in this election. And it only needs someone to go and challenge it in court. I'm well, Mkoma Raymond Rusinga, how are you? I'm well, my brother. So it means the whole of Mashonaland West ZANU-PF candidates are not supposed to participate in this election. So sometimes people rejoice when these judgments are being handed down, oppressive judgments. They forget that before you look into someone's eye, look into your eye. There must be a big log in your eye. Don't remove someone, or don't see someone's a log in someone's eye. No, look at yourself. Look at that log in your eye first of all before you look at someone's eye. As would you do so, I would do so if given an opportunity. So, what I'm saying is, let's talk tonight. I've seen Zimbabwe President Emmerson Mnangagwa, he has flown to Russia. We have seen quite a number of pictures sent by his team from Russia. Obvious, there is no 𝗵𝗶 journalist or man in Russia who is taking these pictures. These pictures are coming from President Mnangagwa's team, and they've been spread on social media, and the videos have been spread on social media. There's a selective application of law. It's very unfortunate, 𝗀𝗵𝗿𝗄𝗏. Such laws, they come back to haunt you. Remember, there is still an application by Msengi, who challenged Mnangagwa's ascendance to 𝗳𝗵𝗿𝗄𝗏 secretary. We all know that this challenge came up after a judgment was ended during COVID time, nullifying ascendance of President Nelson Chamisa to the MDC throne. In a similar case, Mnangagwa is ascended in a similar case. That means Mnangagwa's ascendance to ZANU-PF head must be nullified. You understand? When this judgment was handed down against Chamisa, people were happy. ZANU-PF people rejoiced. Little known that the same law would impact on their leader as well. The way he ascended, because he must have ascended through a Congress, but he ascended through an unconstitutional means, and they were challenged. Those unconstitutional means were challenged by Msenge, ZANU-PF youth, and the High Court, they are so embarrassed. Even their chief justice is so embarrassed about it. You understand? They even fail to bring the case before the court because they know that there is precedence to that case, and Mnangagwa must be removed as the head of ZANU-PF. Now they took another case to court in Bulawayo, accusing 𝗵𝗶 aspiring members of parliament that they submitted their nominations late. Their candidates, the whole of Mashonaland West, they submitted their nomination papers exactly 4:30. You understand? So they are not all obliged to take part in this election. So we just need to run to the court and tell them, look, there is precedence to that matter, and these people, they submitted their applications late. As I understand you, but the Zimbabwe judiciary are captured. Yes, they are captured, but that must not stop us bring these cases to them, 𝗀𝗵𝗿𝗄𝗏. Because whatever is happening at the moment, it's not, we don't go to court to expect to win in Zimbabwe. No, we go to court for such judgments. Those judgments are precedents. They are very important in our matter because they are put on record and they act as precedents. So we need to expose how captured the courts are. We need. Are you okay, my boy?
Yeah, I'm just making my sandwich. I'm hungry.
Huh?
I'm just making a sandwich.
A sandwich? Can you go tell Clint to come down so that he can make you sandwiches?
Okay.
Close my door. Tell Clint to make you sandwiches if you want sandwich. Sorry, guys. So this is the matter. Those judgments are handed down, but they are handed down by long-sighted people. If you are long-sighted, you can't see far. You see near. So it's very unfortunate for ZANU-PF that they shoot themselves on the foot always. As I mentioned yesterday, that we've never seen such type of a thing in the history of elections in our country. Even during Ian Smith, nobody witnessed what we are witnessing today. It's something that we are looking at and say, oh, this can happen in a country. You know, they are just buying, ZANU-PF is just buying time, playing around with the mind of people. They know they have really failed to run Zimbabwe. And Judge Wagarwa, Bagawa Budagis, Bagaipa. So, ladies and gentlemen, we know. We have never seen what is happening today in Zimbabwe courts, what is happening in our political arena. We have never seen this before. We saw elections. I saw elections in 1978, 79, I think, when there was Zimbabwe Rhodesia government. We saw elections in 1979, 1980. In February 1980, there were elections held in Zimbabwe that brought ZANU-PF to power. We saw the June elections in 1985. We saw all other elections coming. Mugabe, despite knowing that he was going to lose the elections, he has never barred any candidate from contesting. Never barred any candidate from contesting. Because the issue of bringing a candidate, like nominations can be extended. 𝗁𝗂𝘀 has got the powers to extend the nomination time. Because if they've got a lot of candidates who want to submit their papers, but it's 4 o'clock, 𝗁𝗂𝘀 has got the powers to extend the nomination time. That has happened time and again. And you know, it happened in 2018. It happened. Some candidates came with no proper papers and signed documentations. They had to go look for signatures and so forth and came back and registered. That has been happening ever since. So I am not sure what got in ZANU-PF's mind. This is why we are saying ZANU-PF is very scared of this election. Very scared. Mnangagwa is very scared. This is why you see now Mnangagwa is flown to Russia. I've always maintained this, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to bear with me here. That Zimbabwe is not producing enough food for itself. Zimbabwe is president and vice president. They are going to Russia just to do a shopping for firearms and ammunition. They are going to China to do shopping for firearms and ammunition. I loved when Putin said he was going to give us grain. Do you know what he means by grain? He is going to give us maize meal or maize. Imagine Russia, probably the coldest country in the world. It has got an unfavorable weather. Russia is farming the maize for us to grind as meal. So Zimbabwe has been given grain for the next 4 months by Russia. We have got a better weather than Russia. We have got 4 seasons in Zimbabwe. Russia does not enjoy 4 seasons. But they are doing farming. They are giving us food for the next 4 months. Mnangagwa flew there. Instead of him to go and ask the Russians how they are doing their agriculture, instead of asking the Russians to help us with equipment so that we can do our farming, to help us with the technology so we can do our own fertilizer, Mnangagwa is not concerned about that. Only Putin had to come and say, oh, okay, Mr. Mnangagwa, I need to give you food for the next 4 months. He was asking for weapons, firearms of war. He was asking for bombs. Mnangagwa is asking for bombs from Russia. He's asking for firearms of war from Russia. He's asking for ammunition from Russia. He's asking for grenades from Russia. He's not asking for tractors to do our farming back in Zimbabwe. He's not asking for harvesters to harvest our crops in Zimbabwe. He's not asking for technology. How can we build fertilizer plants which is in short supply in our country? You see. So instead of Mnangagwa to ask for things that can help economy grow, he is not asking for that from Russia. He is asking for firearms. Pictures are awash on social media. When he was holding, it's like a submachine gun. The one that he was holding, it's like an SMG. I don't know what type of weapon he was holding. And the other one he was holding, I saw 3 weapons. He was holding a folding bat like a submachine gun, SMG submachine gun. And the other ones was like a Moosbeck. It's like a shotgun. And the other one was a pistol, a very small pistol, like a 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗄𝗃. I know about these weapons. Do you know a 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗄𝗃? A very small weapon, a very small pistol like this. We call a 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗄𝗃. A very small pistol. I saw him holding that. I saw him holding another gun, like a shotgun. It's like a Moosbeck. It's like a shotgun. I've never seen that one. I've seen him holding another gun, like a submachine gun, SMG, 𝗀𝗃, the one with like a folding, but he was holding it exactly in a firing position. So this is supposed to be the president of Zimbabwe. What he's doing is supposed to be the work of the defense minister. Defense minister is supposed to go there because he is the man who always work with the Zimbabwe National Army. He is the man who hold meetings with the ZNA to say, look guys, are you in short supply? What are you in short supply of? Are you in short supply of weapons? Or do we need to modernize our weapons? We know we have got AK assault rifles, but there are other weapons which are far much better than AKs. Do you need us to acquire new weapons? It's not the president's duty. What we only need to do is to go to the president and say, President, we need a big budget because this year we want to purchase or to upgrade our weapons. We still have AKs which were made in 1946. Why can't we upgrade our weapons to this type of weapons? We've got this type. You talk about the advantages of modernizing your weapons, and they know they want to win free and fair election. Definitely they're not going to win. So it's pathetic that we have got a president, a whole president, who feel his private jet fly to Russia to go and order weapons. He wants to wage a war. I don't know who. He wants to wage a war with who? I don't know. We are civilians. We are not the military. We are civilians in that country. 𝗀𝗃𝗃 is a political party supported by civilians. As what is the role of a commander-in-chief? The role of a commander-in-chief is to regulate the army. He is the man who signed deployment of soldiers. That's the role of a commander-in-chief. He's the overall head of the uniformed forces, or the overall head of the national army. But he is not the person who knows about the hardware of the army. The hardware of the army is known by the commanders of the army. Those who do day-to-day operations of the army. Those are the people who go and brief the commander-in-chief the equipment that they want, the equipment that they want. We want this, we want that. The commander-in-chief's duty is to approve purchase of those weapons. Not for the commander-in-chief to fly to Russia and they say, we need. He talked to the commander of Russian army to say, look, can I have a look at weapons that we have? I need these weapons. Because you can be commander-in-chief, fly to Russia and buy wrong type of weapons. It's like if you go to Zimbabwe today, there are two weapons that I've even condemned myself. Two weapons in Zimbabwe. The first weapon that I've condemned is the G3 assault rifle. If you look at the G3, if you just look at it, you will enjoy looking at it. You will think, yeah, panapa hondo ichatsva panapa. But go with the G3, pa range, pa battle chap, you cry because chine a lot of stoppages. Chikangopinda gas rekangopinda muchubu meme zvatopera mchemba. Chinge chakuta ma stoppages, saka you need to fire and clean. If you don't clean it regularly whilst firing, chinosvika pakunjema. Chinonjema zvakaipa. The other weapon, if you look at my FN assault rifles, if you look at FN rifles, something went wrong here. If you look at FN candidates, yeah, I'm going to talk about it, 𝗀𝗵𝗿𝗄𝗀. Right, before I go further, let me answer this question before I go further. The appeal has been launched. I want the Zimbabweans to understand this. A judgment was given yesterday, and the appeal has successfully been launched this morning. So, the Supreme Court, today is 28 July 2023. The Supreme Court has gone on recess. That means the Supreme Court won't be able to hear this matter until September 11th, I understand. So, according to the the gazetted article that we have seen, Supreme Court has gone on recess today, and this appeal will be heard on the 11th of September 2023. That means once the appeal has successfully been launched, it means the judgment, the High Court judgment, will be set aside. When the High Court judgment is set aside until the Supreme Court determines whether the judgment will stay or will be dismissed. And that will be done on the 11th of September when the Supreme Court resumes business. That means the 12 candidates for Bulawayo, they won't be removed from the ballot paper. They won't be removed. They can only be removed once Supreme Court has ruled that the judgment stay, and that rule or that judgment or the staying of the judgment probably will be done in September. It will be heard in September, and that is after the elections. When it heard after the elections, if these people are disqualified, there are 2 things or 3 things that could happen again. If the Supreme Court says the judgment was right after an election, then if any of these members of parliament had won, he will be removed as member of parliament, and there will be a rerun in that constituency. It's either they're gonna be a rerun, or they will say those who were disadvantaged had already won. But the problem now is, in some other constituencies, there are 4 or 5 other contestants who will be disadvantaged by this. But I think the election, there will be a rerun of those constituencies if Supreme Court rules after election. At this juncture, if ZEC to print the ballot papers, obvious, these 12 candidates will be on the ballot paper. So they will contest this election. It's just 25 or so days to go. I think so. And the problem now lies in ZEC. Because ZEC now hasn't printed ballot papers. The ballot papers are yet to be printed, because there are all these issues before the courts. I am not sure when these ballot papers will be printed. And some ballot papers have to be, like postal ballot papers, need to be sent. And they were supposed to have been sent 14 days after nomination day. But now, after nomination day, 14 days period has elapsed, and these ballot papers have not been printed, and now this has put the postal voting in jeopardy again. I think you're following what I'm saying here. Problem ekuti pane nchitaura ndiri ndega, hapana vanhu vanenge vacha acknowledge kuti vari kunzwa zvandiri kutaura here kana havasi kunzwa. Pana pa platform panenge pari dead. Hapana munhu anenge aisa kana love and like chaiye kuziva ndizoona kuti you guys are following whatever I'm discussing or whatever I'm imparting here. I was answering to Mkwasha, my big Mkwasha Jola. He was talking about the fate of the 12 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗄𝗃 candidates who have been barred from contesting. Right, so that is the result at the moment. That today I was talking to Atete Josephine. No, yesterday I was talking to Atete Josephine. She was saying, why is it not, why the people on your platform don't send stars? I said to myself, I don't even know. I've just activated this issue about stars, but I've never seen how they are sent and how they benefit me. But she was saying the people on the platform, Shepherd, you look, we have got about 40, 80 people. If they start sending some stars, at least it brings an income which you can probably use to upgrade the platform. I said, okay, that's fine. As the Dexter Nduna versus MDC Alliance. Yes, there was a case about Dexter Nduna. Dexter Nduna was Zek made an error, awarded that constituency to Dexter Nduna after he lost it to Ainza Anugo Blazo and Antaram Shambol Agasara MDC Yanuzanu Dakangano Sarake man. So when the case was taken to court, High Court, Zek admitted of having made an error, and the High Court continued. High Court said Dexter Nduna should continue as Member of Parliament, and they castigated Zek's errors. Now Zek did not make an error, and the High Court is saying they made an error. When Zek made an error in Dexter Nduna's case, they said Atapanzwa Captain Mapanzwa Jola. Alright, Mirai Timbonzwa audio pane audio and raw player pana. The guy player ne Zuru. Munangagwa munumbire igodoro munumbire igowawa chiremba tauri munzwe audio 2 minutes boss kitchen kwangu akunomira zvakanaka ndikuya 2 minutes
baba ndiriupenyu baba muruza baba ndakasangana nhau yakandirwadza madzibaba baba Gerald tikasangwara vakasangwara vatoreni tikasangwarira baba Gerald apa tirikuita hakuna atiita pakaoma makaya munoziva here kuti musangano weguru wakadhizainwa uchienderana nema-election. Musangano wegore unoitwa kupera paAugust, so ndiri kupedzera kupera paAugust. Ma-election anoitwa musi wa23, saka madays edu aAugust kubva pana23 tati newiki yekuti taizokwanisa kuti after my-election tozoita musangano wedu wegore. Asi nokuda kweprogramu, nokuda kweurongwa, kuda kuriga ma-election, vakavona kuti musangano wegore unokwanisa kuunganidza vanhu vanosvika emiliyoni. Saka vanhu ivo vanosvika emiliyoni kana vakarara vakapusa vose vachavhotera ZANU-PF. Zviri kuda kuitwa kumusangano wegore rino 2023 musi wa8 August. Zviri kuda kunzi munhu anopinda fazi inenge iriko ichida kuona kuti wakarejista here kuvhota. saka iwe unoita sekunzi vanoda kuti iwe urejiste kuvhota. Senzira yekuti ugorejista kuvhota kuzowana mukana wokuvhotera bato raunoda. Kana wamanikidzwa kuvhota, kana wati wakanyoresa, vachada kutsvaga kunoti wakanyoresa papi right. Kana wanoti iwe wanonyoresa uchafoseredzwa kunyoresa kuvhota. Kana wanyoresa kuvhota, vanotora picture yesilipi yaunopiwa vanyoresa kuvhota, silipi yaunopiwa wanyoresa kuvhota. Iyo silipi ndiye vanoda. Ndio dua nefazi iyo silipi iyo. Silipi iyo yotorwa ivo manje uchindovhotera manje mutungamiri wavo wenyika. Ndo pane strategy yeZANU-PF. Vapostori vachada kumusangana wegore vachava vapostori veZANU-PF. Vachava vapostori veZANU-PF, vachavhotera ZANU-PF. Kusada kwavo kana kuda kwavo ndo chimiro chiripo. Now kuti ndikutaurire now, I see now you.
Sorry guys, ndavimboita sort out issue yekitchen. Right, manzwa nyaya ndiri kutaura ka. Ndakandiripa Adi Shepherd Jr. is online, Driora Jr. Thank you so much. Thank you, Clint. Saka nyaya ndiri kutaura, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. It's about the president of Zimbabwe, Emmerson Mnangagwa. He has flown to Russia. We are not in Russia, but we are seeing pictures of him holding different firearms. We are seeing pictures of him receiving a helicopter from Putin. Putin has pledged to give Zimbabwe food for the next 4 months. So this was my question. Is Zimbabwe in dire need of food? Are we in dire need of food? Because we have heard the government saying we have produced enough food, and they promised us in 2018 that by 2023 they will be exporting food, they will be exporting electricity, quite a lot of things that the government promised, ZANU-PF promised when it was campaigning, even in their manifesto, that they were going to. ZANU is really useless. They can't stop a train in charge. Yes. So I've maintained, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen to me very carefully. I have maintained this time and again that Zimbabwe is on the verge of a civil war. Hey, this is what you wish. No, that's not what I wish. But this is exactly what is happening in our country. Emmerson Mnangagwa is preparing for war. He is not preparing for peace. If he was preparing for peace, when you fly to countries like Russia, in Russia, they are producing more grain than Zimbabwe. But if you look at the Russian weather, it's not as good as Zimbabwe. Instead of him to go and negotiate with Putin to say, Putin, can you give us the technology that you use to produce so much grain? The technology that you use to produce fertilizers. Because I understand Russia produces a lot of fertilizer. Zimbabwe does not produce fertilizer anymore. No more fertilizer in Zimbabwe. If we want fertilizer, we buy from South Africa. So we want a president who fly to Russia and tell the Russians that we need a fertilizer plant in our country. Can you help us build one? Because obvious, remember last time I put my picture, I was standing near a nice bridge which was designed by the British. It's a footbridge. it's hanging. It's a footbridge, a suspended footbridge. Then I just wrote on my Facebook that engineering. So I knew engineering people, when they see that photo, they look behind me on that photo, they will see this bridge and they will know what I'm talking about. And then there is Engineer Ponela, who came and started asking silly questions. I don't know how he did not understand what I was trying to say there. Luckily, there were other people who commented there who knew exactly why I had posted that picture. It was about the bridge, the Stockton River, the 𝗀𝗵 River suspension bridge, which was built probably in 2009 in the United Kingdom. This is the bridge that I wanted to show Zimbabweans. These bridges are designed in the United Kingdom. They are designed by engineers. These engineers, they go to university, Teesside University, where I went. That's where the engineers who designed that bridge came from, and that bridge stood. Right? So we have got engineers in our country. I was laughing at the picture here that I posted about 𝗀𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 I'm beginning to believe so. You know, 𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗿𝗀's helicopter. A lot of Zimbabweans are commenting about 𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗿𝗀. Oh, 150 stars, thank you so much. Are commenting about 𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗿𝗀's helicopter. 𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗿 is an engineer. If he wanted to produce a proper helicopter, he could have done that. All the helicopters that you see flying in Russia, they were made by engineers. So if we have got an engineer who does that short job, and the people still call that person an engineer, in 21st century, ngotrachi drum kwakuchingogadzika kwakucheka kwakusa ma plastic paper kwakuti helicopter. Atina engineering yatiri kudzidza pa University of Zimbabwe. I am telling you, because my engineers, including one another fabrication, in ndakaita course fabrication, kudesigner, kucheka, to know what material to use. Kana chida kuwelda this type of material ndo welda ne ndichandisa chi zvese izvo zvinotodzidzwa na engineer. Saka kana muna engineer anenge 𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗿𝗀 anocheka madrum ogadzira chidrum chekuchita helicopter oti this is a helicopter chisina kana ma prospects of flying. We've got helicopters flying in Zimbabwe. We've got helicopters flying in Zimbabwe. We've got helicopters flying everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. But someone, an engineer from University of Zimbabwe, cannot make a proper helicopter. And the people say in this 21st, he did not invent a helicopter. A helicopter was invented a long time ago. But a helicopter is just there for him to copy. Kana ane zvimwe zvaanoda kuisa mukati, ndo zvake zvaanozoita invent wokuti helicopter yangu ndoda kuti iitwe zvakati. Not kugadzira helicopter yakagadzirwa kudhara. Hapana engineering iri kuitwa. You just take a helicopter from China, put it there and copy. Oburitsa ochinhu chakanaka kufura chekuchina. Ndaichiverenga, remember kuti pana ndiri kuchikoro last time when I was in class in school. I was reading about medicine, pharmacology. It was one of like my modules in school when I was studying about pharmacology. I learned that, you know, all the tablets that you see in the world, if I manufacture my own tablets, or ndika mix up, ndikana pane disease yandiri kuona kuti chirwere chanetsa ichi, ndoita research yekuziva kuti chirwere ichi kuti ndichipore, medical technology, like forensic, yes. Kuti chirwere ichi chipore ichi, chirwere ichi chino manifesta in this way. Chaita manifesta in this way. Ndikatora ma elements akaita carbon, hydrogen, oxygen at certain quantities, ndikamixa, ndinogona kugadzira mushonga wokuti chirwere ichi chirapike kana to stop chirwere ichi. Saka, what I will be doing there, I will be doing what I call formulation. It's just like forensic sciences is stated by 𝗀𝗵𝗽𝗀𝗀𝗿, by John Cloud here. You do what you call formulation. You make your calculations. You make your proportions to make sure that if I'm putting oxygen, I'll put element oxygen, I'll put so much. I'll put hydrogen so much. I put nitrogen so much. I put so much. Ndikasanganisa panapa ndirikugadzira mushonga unogona kurapa chirwere chakati. Noendesa patrial mushonga iwoyo. Kana ndaendesa patrial kana waprova kuti unogona kupodza chirwere chandiri kutaura. Mushonga iwoyo uchatorwa ushandiswa for clinical trials. Ndomwe mushonga yamunoona tichiti kana tikaenda kuzvipatara kuyakwe. Manese research anouya kwauri iwewe. Votaura newe kuti Mr. Yuda mune COVID kuti tine drug nyowandira tina rinonzi Bactinib kuti rinorapa arthritis kuti saka paipa munenge muchitadza kufema muchitasepa muchikosora mapapu enyu anenge achishanda zvakanyanya anogona kuzvimba sezvinoita arthritis zviya kuti saka iri drug iri toda kuritiraya kuti kakupai aristope kuzvimba here kwemapapu andiri maona. Saka iwewe it's either unobvuma kana uri munhu ma-health specialist unobvuma kuti alright I consent kuti ndipei drug iri ndione pamwe ndingararama pamwe mapapu angamira kukosora pamwe angamira kuzvimba wopuwa drug rere on trial. Saka anenge ari ma-experiments anenge achiitwa kana iri RCT iri kuitwa ipapo you get that drug on trial. Kana rashanda pauri mumwe munhu anopuwa placebo kana iri RCT mumwe anopuwa placebo chakadangana sedrug iro chisiri drug musina pamwe munenge mune mvura chete. Saka votesta vozofollowa maresults waona kuti rakashanda here drug kana rakashanda pavanhu vakati zvakureva kuti drug rinorapa kana raprovwa kudaro nzi rinorapa ropinda maclinical trials ese rapedza ndopanozonzi munhu akagadzira drug iroro anopuwa 17 years patent. Kana apuwa 17 years patent zvakureva izvo kuti for the next 17 years anofanira kugadzira drug raanoda otengesa. Kana atengesa recover macost ake research and everything zvese zvaungana apa after 17 years vanhu vanoona zvemishonga vanobva varisunungura vobva vati kana pane company inoda kugadzirawo torai drug iri mugadzirewo. How many years does it take for a drug to be approved? It all depends, 𝗀𝗵𝗽𝗀𝗀𝗿. It all depends. Kuti drug rechi rinenge richida matrials akawanda zvakadini, roda vanhu roda population yakawanda zvakadini. Anditi maona. Saka at the end, hanzi Yuda tinowina here ma-candidate not contesting. 𝗀𝗵𝗽𝗀𝗀𝗿 so far hapana candidate isiri kucontesta. Ndabotaura nezvazvo manonoka kuwe. But let me just briefly say, at this juncture, at this moment, hapana candidate isiri contesta. All 𝗃𝗃C candidates are contesting, including those who were barred to contest in Bulawayo, because an appeal has been launched to the Supreme Court. By Supreme Court allowing that appeal to be launched, it means the judgment passed by the High Court is set aside until the case is heard by the Supreme Court. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court now has gone on recess. They will come back in September. So that case won't be heard until September. So already the judgment has been set aside. Those 12 aspiring members of parliament who will contest, they will be on the ballot paper and they will contest. I think I've answered this question time manonoka 𝗀𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗿 manonoka atete iron lady. How are you? Saka naachitaura nyaya yepatent kupa transfer of power apo 𝗀𝗵𝟫 achapiwa here neteam rearmy. It's not about team rearmy 𝗀𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗀𝗿. It's about the election results. Once the results are announced that 𝗀𝗵𝟫 is won, that army inenge yana new commander in chief. Saka hapana musoja anoramba commander in chief. Both vese vanenge va under 𝗀𝗵𝟫. I'm asking because COVID drugs we never heard of the research. The research I was one of the people who benefited from the research pa COVID. Yakaitwa research. Saka plus bacteria rerno mu laboratory ndoma totamba naro. Totamba naro mu laboratory. Pamwe tika pandemic chete ma samples akangotorwa pandemic yoyo totamba ne mabacteria kana mavirus acho mu lab tichigadzira totry ese mishonga iripo tichizama tichimixa different elements make sure kuti tawana mishonga unogona kuita kill that virus or bacteria. And saka connected atete mfc mkusha makadi atete atete wangu long time. Saka manzwa nyaya ndachitaura mkoma kuda I think you answered. No one is barred at this juncture from contesting until the Supreme Court sit. So the Supreme Court is going to sit in September, and the elections are before that. So the candidates will contest. Kana Supreme Court has sit at no, the election I know waka contested, they were not supposed to contest. Then a rerun will be done. That means panenge paku atete QD zviru fambere mwana wamai zviru kudini. Andofunga mapanzo pandrukutaura. So, ladies and gentlemen, I was talking after that, then I went on to talk about President 𝗴𝗴𝗴𝗄𝗴𝗴𝗄 Emmerson Mnangagwa's trip to Russia. That trip, I know it zvakanaka. Why? Because we are in September, definitely. Mukuma maswera senda swera. My mfaro, please, I want your number ku inbox kwangu. My mfaro, munisendra number yenyu ku inbox kwangu. Please, urgently. I want that number urgently. Saka, what I'm saying, panapa, ladies and gentlemen, is about the trip that you saw your president flying a private jet with an entourage going to Russia. And when he got in Russia, we saw him with the Russian defense minister or so, I'm not sure. He was shopping for firearms of war. I thank you for that update of the Black candidates. Thanks, 𝗀𝗵𝗿𝗄𝗀. Thank you so much, my brother. So I was talking about your Zimbabwean president flying a private jet into Russia to go and do a firearms shopping. We saw him holding three different firearms. First of all, I saw him holding one submachine gun like an 𝗀𝗃. He was holding it at an aiming position or a firing position. Secondly, I saw him holding another weapon which looks like a shotgun, but I'm not sure what type of weapon is it. I've never seen it before. Then I saw him holding a pistol, like a 𝗲𝗄𝗏, a very small pistol. It's like a 𝗲𝗄𝗏. So we have got a president who always preach peace, but he indicates right and turn left. He goes on social media, on ZBC, on ZTV, preaching peace. If you see a president going out, not Minister of Defense, not 𝗀𝗵𝗿𝗄𝗏, no. We see a president going to Russia to do a shopping of firearms. That means it is really disturbing. It is really disturbing to see a president of a country going into another country to shop for firearms, whilst the people of Zimbabwe are starving. Putin came in to say, okay, fine, you are looking for firearms, but your people are starving. Let me give you food for the next 4 months. Now Zimbabwe is receiving grain from Russia for the next 4 months. We will be fed by the Russians. Surprisingly, the same government that Mnangagwa runs, it goes on state radio and say, all the silos are full. We've got enough food even to export. But when he goes to Russia, he'll go and cry, we are hungry, and get food from Russia. And he is also buying weapons from Russia. Remember when I said Zimbabwe is on the verge of civil war. These are telltales of civil war. These are signs of civil war. That your president is preparing for a civil war. He knows he's going to lose the election. And I'm not sure if he wants to wage war against innocent civilians. Because we are not armed. We are just armed by a pen. Every Zimbabwean holds a pen. Every Zimbabwean is ready. I think you have seen what was happening in Karoi. Karoi is one of the strongest strongest areas where ZANU-PF dominate. But look at what was happening in Karoi. Karoi went yellow. President Nelson Chamisa was in Karoi, couldn't even walk in Karoi. It went yellow. As he is a lunatic, check his dressing, you can tell. As he knows these are the last kicks of a dying horse. But why is he shopping for firearms? I've stated a lot of things here. That if you go to Zimbabwe, we need him to go to Russia and talk about our health system. The Russians can assist us in our health system. As Karoya dadis, dadis. We want Russia to assist us on the health system. We want Russia to assist us in infrastructure, developing our trains, constructing our roads. Because Zimbabwe, as it stands today, it does not have a road. All roads are dilapidated. So we need a country that can come and help us build our roads, build our infrastructure, the telephone system, the road network, the railway network, a lot of things that we want. If you look at our buildings, they are dilapidated, very old buildings. Those are the houses that even the British or the Americans are destroying, building new buildings. Record-breaking, Karoi, keep it up. Karoya dadisa, ataora agonya Karoya dadisa. So, instead, our president is preparing for a terrorist attack on the civilians, on the people of Zimbabwe. That should be condemned. And I'm not happy with the statement that he issued in Russia. Guys, we are on the verge of a World War III, right? We have got a president who goes to Russia and support Russia's invasion of Ukraine. That same president, when he was probably Minister of Defense or so, he spoke to Robert Mugabe, or he convinced Robert Mugabe that Democratic Republic of Congo is being invaded by Rwanda and Uganda. Mnangagwa convinced Mugabe to sign a memorandum and deploy soldiers in DRC, in Democratic Republic of Congo. And they went there to repel invasion of DRC by Rwanda, invasion of DRC by Uganda. Zimbabwean soldiers, in 1998, they went to fight those invading Democratic Republic of Congo. Today, the same man flies to Russia. Instead of condemning Russia, for invading Ukraine, Idi Mnangagwa went to Russia to support Ukrainian invasion. If you are a Zimbabwean, you must sit down and think deeply. Sit down and think deeply. Why Zimbabwe is supporting Russia to invade Ukraine? But the same Zimbabwe went to DRC to repel Congolese invasion. Democratic Republic of Congo was being invaded by the Rwandese and by the Congolese. I know that they are the Rwandese, and I will tell you how I know that. And koma idatri kunzwa National and West ndiyo ere hanzi kwaiti National and West ndiyo chayo. ZANU-PF candidates, they submitted their nominations at 4:30, 30 minutes after all of them in National and West. So the judgment already is there, and it is precedence. We just need to go to High Court and stop them from contesting. Simple. Anoda kuraisa vanhu muZimbabwe murume. He's a terrorist. You know, exactly. This is my point. Atete Masmas. This is my point. If you come to United Kingdom, we have got William Chinyanga has been incarcerated in the UK for urging Zimbabweans to fight a terrorist, for urging Zimbabweans to even bomb the petrol stations of a terrorist. If you think of America, you go to America. Americans, they had to take soldiers and to take all sorts of firearms to go to Afghanistan. When they were in Afghanistan, they were destroying petrol stations, they were destroying oil wells that supported terrorists. Osama bin Laden was a terrorist. And America flew to Afghanistan to deal with Osama bin Laden. And when they were there, they dealt with the source of income for Osama bin Laden. They disabled Osama bin Laden. They made sure that all wells which were producing oil, selling oil to support terrorism in Afghanistan, are destroyed. Right? This is a same mentality that William Chinyanga had when he went live on Facebook, urging Zimbabweans to fight terrorism in our country. William Chinyanga urged the Zimbabweans to destroy anything that financed terrorism in our country. And surprisingly, he was arrested in the United Kingdom, tried for going against terrorism, and he was charged of terrorism and sent to prison for 4 years. Today, the same government that complained to British police to say what Chinyanga is saying is encouraging terrorism, it has flown to Russia and they are buying weapons. It has flown to Russia. They are supporting Russian invasion of Ukraine. That means they are supporting terrorism. So what will the British say now about Chinyanga? If they revisit Chinyanga's case, they will tell you that William Chinyanga was 100% right, because he urged destruction of source of income for terrorists. ZANU-PF government is a terrorist government. So, Chinyanga's address to the nation or to the whole world was to stamp down terrorism, was to encourage people of Zimbabwe to destroy sources of income for a terroristic government like Zimbabwe government. Today they are buying weapons. Today they are supporting the Russian invasion of Ukraine. There is no sane person who can support that. Russia invading another country. For what reason? For what purpose? And you have got a whole president of a Zimbabwe country flying to Russia to support the invasion. When he's in Russia, he knows that he's supporting terrorism. And he's trying to get arms of war from the Russians to come and I don't know what he wants to do in Zimbabwe. Because we have seen it in 2018, he shot people down, he gunned people down. And that video of people being gunned down is the same video that Shinyanga cried whilst watching, and the British have incarcerated him for watching that video, for telling Zimbabweans, you cannot be gunned down like this, like ants. You need to fight back. Destroy all source of income for these terrorists. And Shinyanga was arrested, tried, and convicted for urging Zimbabweans to destroy source of income for these terrorists. But we have seen Americans and the British flying to Afghanistan and destroy all source of income for terrorists. So we don't know whether this is a double standard or what by the British government. It's very sad. It's a very sad chapter in the history of our fight for a free Zimbabwe, that a British government is supporting a Zimbabwe government, a terrorist organization that has gunned down innocent civilians on the 1st of August 2018. In addition, they've incarcerated someone who was telling Zimbabweans to defend themselves, who was telling Zimbabweans that this is the source of terrorism. Can we destroy the source of income for terrorism? And they said he was inciting terrorism and charged him of terrorism. Today, the man who complained about Shinyanga's utterances has flown to Russia. He's supporting terrorism. I'm not sure whether the British will issue a warrant of arrest to Emmerson Mnangagwa, because whatever he said today in his speech is pure terrorism. You cannot stand and support invasion of another country. Russia invading Ukraine. No sane person can support that. That Zimbabwe must invade Botswana because Botswana want to join a certain organization. And Zimbabwe will say, no, you are our neighbor, you can't join that organization. Instead, we will invade and fight you. This is exactly what happened by Putin. And no sane person can support Putin. It's so sad. But ladies and gentlemen, such actions by Emmerson Mnangagwa have got a long-lasting social, political, and economic consequences. Believe me. Believe me. Whatever Zimbabwe president did today has got a everlasting social, everlasting political, everlasting economic consequences. Zimbabwe will suffer. And if you look at today's heading, Herald, Zimbabwe has said it is now disbanding use of American dollar. I am not sure what currency they are going to introduce in our country. Because obvious, when we took over Zimbabwe in 1980, Zimbabwe was using pound like the British pound. And the Mugabes came and said, we want to use dollar. Where did they get the idea from? You did not see the speech. I posted it on my Facebook page at @mas. Go on my Facebook page. Scroll down, you'll find it. I've posted it. That Zimbabwe is fully behind the invasion of Ukraine. And the man who is saying it's wrong, a man who said it's wrong for DRC to be invaded by Rwanda, today is saying it's right for Ukraine to be invaded by Russia. These are double standards. These are double standards. This is why I am saying that Zimbabweans, if you don't be very careful, this man is dragging you into a civil war, in a very serious war that have got that have long-lasting social, political, and economic consequences. What is just doing Mnangagwa is just there will be widespread fear, curtailment of civil liberties, as you have noticed recently of late, that there is patriotic bill which has been passed by Zimbabwe Parliament, that you cannot criticize the government. You can hear me now criticizing him. Mnangagwa is wrong. You cannot go to Russia and support invasion of Ukraine. That is 100% wrong. You can't do that. After delivering such a suicidal statement, you go on to shop for weapons of war. Who do you want to fight? Who do you want to fight? If you go to Zimbabwe, 𝗂𝗶𝗿 does not have a firearm. They've got this pen to put an X and defeat you. So that bill which was passed there, it was just passed to curtail the liberties of Zimbabweans. And just to promote dysfunctional climate of fear. As you stand today, there are a lot of videos from Zimbabwe that you have heard, that you have seen, guys. ZANU-PF people telling us that they are going to kill us. Do you know what Uraya? Another ZANU-PF war veteran was addressing people in Chirez saying, Chamisa must be killed. That means Mnangagwa's government is promoting a dysfunctional climate of fear in our country. So if you look at that, that is what we call terrorism. Zimbabweans are under a terroristic regime. That terroristic regime must be dealt with without favor, fear and favor. So I'm appealing to the international community. That is, this is the government you have been protecting. I'm appealing to the British government itself. That is the man who reported Chinyanga, that Chinyanga is a terrorist. And the British had to go and surround Chinyanga's house with the firearms of war to arrest a teacher, a mere teacher. Someone who was crying that why are the people being gunned down? A human rights activist has been jailed in the United Kingdom for urging his people to fight back and destroy the source of income for these terrorists. And the British picked him up, locked him up. If you go to Zimbabwe now, you can see a lot of political motivated violence, physical and psychological. If you ask the ZANU-PF people, why are they telling the world that Chamisa must be killed? That's a psychological, politically motivated violence. You have seen a lot of people being butchered. You have seen a lot of people being attacked. Last time I came here, guys, I'm so sorry. I was looking for fuel to get this friend of mine from Gweru to a place where he was going to hide. Unfortunately, the guy went home. He was driven away from Gweru and was hidden. He went to his rural home. I don't know what got into his mind. When he was in his rural home, he stayed there for about 2 days. I don't know what got into his mind. And he went back to Mavuku. Guys, if I show you his photos, you will cry. I am telling you. When he sent me his photos, I cried. I said, but why? You had gone into hiding. And we thought you are safe. But you have now returned back to Mavuku. Look now what happened. ZANU-PF youth, they saw him in Mavuku. Vakamuunganira, vakamurova, vakamukuvadza. Akachekwa kudai. Ukamona masonero akaitwa dhunge fesi yese dai. Ndiri kuchema, guys, because pane vanhu vakacontributa mari yekuti timutakure aende into hiding. He went into hiding. Akasvika akakuva. Hamenda akangofunga sei nobva adzoka kuMabvuku achibva akuvadzwa. Saka ezvinezvi ameno ndamboda kuposta mapictures ake paFacebook, but ndaona kuti tikamaposta futi tinogona kuti tichicreate another issue, anogona kuurawa. I'm now scared that he might be killed. He might be killed. A lot of people contributed. Tikamutakura tikamuviga, but akadzoka hamene tichichanga adzokerera kubva kugweru kuenda kumusha, kubva kumusha kuenda kumabvuku achibva kuvadza. Ndikakuratidzai mapictures andakasenderwa, so you don't even like it. ZANU-PF is a terrorist organization. They use this threat of violence, especially against the electorate and against the civilians of a country. Their intent is just that they intend to instill fear and cause damage to the health of the nation. The population, the people of Zimbabwe, the citizens of a country live in fear because of ZANU-PF. And I don't expect a government to be perpetrator, because government-sponsored violence is the worst violence ever in this world. Because the government is supposed to protect the citizens of a country. But to my surprise, it is the government which is now being the perpetrator. It's the government being the perpetrator. It's no longer about individuals or political parties. No. Once a political party forms a government, that government will no longer serve one political party only. It will serve the nation, those who voted for them and those who did not vote for them. Because ZANU-PF now forms a government. They have got state weapons. They have got state buses. They have got state planes, helicopters. They have got everything at their disposal. They are using state resources to perpetrate violence against the people of Zimbabwe, those who went to vote or those who did not vote. It's pathetic, ladies and gentlemen. The situation in our country is in dire need of us intervening. This is why I was telling you that a civil war is imminent in our country. It is imminent in our country. Believe me. I think we need to ask journalists like 𝗀𝗵𝗿𝗄𝗃 to put it on Al Jazeera. Maybe Chinyanga's case might be revisited. Definitely we need Chinyanga's case revisited. Because the British, they listened to Zimbabwe government, to Mnangagwa, who said what Chinyanga said was terrorism. But today, he went to Russia, uttered terroristic speech, supporting Russian invasion of Ukraine, supporting terrorists from Russia to invade an innocent country. Because Ukraine wants to be part of NATO. And Russia is saying you can't be part of NATO. If you want to be part of NATO, we are going to fight you. Then they invaded Ukraine. A sane human being cannot support Russia under what circumstances? But we see the whole nation like Zimbabwe supporting Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Whilst the world is crying that Russia should pull out of Ukraine, and we have got a stupid man wearing a scarf flying to that country to say, yeah, we support you. Go hit them hard. Yeah, that's the mafia. This is why you see even Al Jazeera said, this is a gold mafia. This is a mafia. And it won. Because Russia cannot be expected to cross its national boundaries into a sovereign country and try to stop it to be friends with other countries. That should never be supported by anyone sane. You see. And as a result, a war occurred in Russia, in Ukraine. People are dying like ants in Ukraine. Key installations of Ukrainian government are being bombed by Russia. Ukraine has lost a lot in this war. From human resources, from its infrastructure that it builds during peacetime. It's being destroyed by Russia for no apparent reason, creating this conflict. And we have got a president from another African country, from an African country, going to support whatever is happening there, which is wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I thought Zimbabwe is going to be neutral and try to negotiate with Russia to pull out of Ukraine. This time, that is why doing this rigging in 𝗴𝗴𝗴𝗄𝗏. Yes, at the floor. And it mona. Saka, I don't know whether Zimbabwe is going to stand this heat. Because nyaya tanga ihumbe. And look guys, we are in a very dangerous world now. Countries like Russia are not countries to associate with. This is why you see exactly what is happening in Zimbabwe. It's exactly like what happened in North Korea. Zimbabwe is being ruled like North Korea. Zimbabwe is being ruled like China. Zimbabwe is being ruled like Russia. And for these systems to go, there is no any other way. Because elections have failed, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to lie. Elections under the circumstances we are in Zimbabwe today, where judges, they just wake up and get $500,000 as allowance, as loan. When did the government start issuing loan? This government is banking. Government is banking. Government, you know, you tora 500,000 yopa judge. You tora 500,000 yopa judge. You tora 500,000 yopa judge. Government, you tora mariza takapa ma judge malone. Magambozona kup. Where in this whole world, magazona kupi zozo. Kuti ma judge anopuwa 500,000 each of one's alone. Magazona kupi zozo. This is when we get such dubious judgments. We get such dubious judgments. Zeki, payakata mistake bananduna. Payakata mistake bananduna. Dexter Nduna achipinda parliament. Zeki, judge, court yakataura yakati apa magona. Paitwa mistake. Now, Zeki yagona, judge akuti matadza. These are the effects of bribing judges. The judge who presided over this matter in 𝗴𝗴𝗏, he was even embarrassed to come and read the judgment. And it was given to someone else to read. Obvious. Now, wait and see the consequences of Mnangagwa supporting invasion of Ukraine. Wait and see. Kana nyika vanhu vanga satambodyanana munyika muya ndopa muchaona kuti vanhu vanodyanana. You are going to witness it, vanhu vanodyanana. And kana mchinzi munyika muchatanga hondo inogona kutanga. Because Russia yakaudzwa neSouth Africa. This is why you see Putin can't go to South Africa kuona summit yawo yeBRICS here. Putin can't fly there. But South Africa yakatuma Zuma yakanowataurira kuti isusu we are going to arrest you. Yakatuma Zuma akanomutaurira Putin kuti you better stay away from South Africa. But South Africa yakasaina ma-international accords ekuti kana pane international criminal court, international criminal justice, kana yataura kuti munhu ari pa warrant of arrest, South Africa must arrest Putin. If South Africa ikaramba kuti it doesn't want to arrest Putin, ivo vakasaina maaccords ekuti tichabvumirana neizvi, then South Africa will suffer the consequences. This is why you see Putin can no longer fly to South Africa. Kana ane nharo ngaaende Putin. Takavataurira mazamu tikati iro igwara iro hariende kuSouth Africa. Because angopinda muSouth Africa will be arrested. Hapana isingapere ngoma. Zvichapera. Zvakufanira ngazvipere iye zvino zvatete Florence. Tikati zvichapera atete tataura for too long zvichapera. It now needs to come to an end. And more. But the 𝗴𝗏𝗏 issue, we won't go quiet. That's why Grace said, unopenga. She saw it long time ago. When waiter, taituka Grace Mugabe, she said, taikati marujata kamwanake mkanya kamwanake tsoko kaika. Taikati marujata, marujata. But People now start realizing kuti amai ava vaive nemuono, vaive nemutsipa wotwiza. Vaive nemutsipa wotwiza, unoona zvino ukoyo iri uko. Anditi mona. Vaiona kuti munhu uyu aite. Imimi vanhu mukati, ndiye watoda, 95% yakamudzinga. Zano yakamudzinga ikati, is disrespectful munhu. If South Africa arrest Putin, akuite hondo iri manje. Inenge ichita hondo nani? Because South Africa signed ma-concessions iwaya, ma-agreements. That munhu akaita saPutin akapinda kana ICJ yati inomuda, you have to arrest him. Saka hakuna hondo inoitika. Ameno kana South Africa ichizoita, South Africa is superpower wawo, inogona kuzvimirira. Russia kuti ibve uko kuya kuzoita hondo kuSouth Africa. Ameno kuti vanenge vasvika sei. Ameno vanokusvika sei. Hanzi namakosi, it is an empty vessel. I think ndosaka akadzingwa nezano. Andimona. Because I think Grace aitaura naMugabe kuti aite. I think so. Grace anenge akaudza Mugabe. Mudhara yave nenharo ndiye akatisvitsa patira. Aingovewo nenharo mudhara Mugabe uya. Achiudzwa nemukadzi wake kuti munhu aite. Because Grace aive kusiya iwoka. Akusile munanga gwanga ari musiya iwoka. Andona. Vese vaiziva kuti mudhara uya aite. Saka uri kuona nangu kuti zvaitaurwa naGrace, the whole country now is in the midst of brutal attack by ZANU-PF. We have never, what is happening in this election, we have never seen this before. This is first of its kind. As Grace even called Manyenga vana, because anenge anga kutoziva nyaya yana Susan Mutami. And anenge akunza akaudza Bobo food. I don't know what happens kune hurumende panega hurumende yeZANU-PF. I don't understand what happens. And I still remember ndiri paRimand in 1997. Ndichitaura naJephthah. Jephthah akataura kuti nyaya yangu inini mudhara yekurohwa stonyeni nabanana. Nyaya yangu iyi ndakaisvitsa kuna Dr. Mzenda aiziva nyaya. Ndikaisvitsa Robert Mugabe aiziva nyaya. But vanhu vanombotora action kuti ndisarohwe stonyeni nani namudhara Sodindo. Andi muri kuona Mugabe akazozvitaura Sodindo kuti Sodindo afa kuti neniwo aitomboda kundirohwa stonyeni mudhara. That means zvakashata zvese zvinoitika muZANU-PF zvese zvinobuda. But madhara avatori action kana vanotyanana here. Because Mugabe confess that at one time Sodindo wanted kumunama mudhara uya. Jephthah akataura, ndakataura naJephthah dueni. Kwete kuti andiri kutaura zvandakaudzwa nevanhu kuti Jephthah aiti zvakati. No. Jephthah yo paHarare Remand Prison, ndiri paRimand Prison. Pakatanga nyaya yaJephthah Dube yekurohwa stonyeni nabanana iyi yakatanga tiri paRimand. And vanhu vakatanga nyaya iyi nana Paulsen Chikanga. Aipo musungwa ainzi Paulsen Chikanga so. Nana mudhara ainonzani ndakamuona achida kuita president. Ane political party yake mudhara iyi. Anonzani uyu. Anonzani mudhara uyu. Timothy Chigwari. Anonzi Chigwari mudhara anonzi Chigwari uyo. Aivepo pakatangwa nyaya idzi. Kana mungamubvunza mudhara Chigwari uyo akuzviti pastor Chigwari ari South Africa. Aione nyaya dzake mazuva acho iwayo. He's a very clever gentleman. Oza ndakataurira vanhu ndikati unoziva mudhara Timothy Chigwari uyu kungoti munhu uyo asiri popular muZimbabwe. Kana kuti vanhu havamuzive here, maybe vanhu havamuzive. He is one of the cleverest gentlemen I've ever seen in my life. Mudhara anonzi Chigwari Timothy uyo. Mudhara uyo ndaive naye paRimand. Ari musungwa, ari paRimand Prison. Aiti kana akuenda kukoti Timothy Chigwari taitakura mabhegi nemabhegi emapepa. And anga asingade zvemasolicitors izvi. Aimira ega nyaya dzake dzenge fraud chii. But ane too much brains mudhara. Too much brains. Aiti akamira muhigh court muna judge akatanga kutaura achivhura mapepa ake so. Waiona prosecutor akwenya musoro so. ndakati ya I know him mudhara ndinazomuziva chaizvo anonzi Chigwaro. Pakatangwa nyaya dzana 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗄𝗏 idzi dzekuti ndairwa stonye naBanana, ndakamboitaura nyaya iyi. Yakangotanga sefaniso. Ukaenda paRemand prison kune macells akatarisa kuno kuNewlands, koziva macells ari kuseri kuHarare Central Prison. Saka macell ekuHarare Central Prison aya ari padhuze nemacell anogara macondemned prisoners vaivamirira vari padeath row. Saka vaiti usiku havarareka, usiku macondemned vanorara masikati, usiku havarare, bozi usiku vanoziva ndonguva yavanouya vachitorwa vachinoyemwa. Saka havarare usiku, saka vanorara vachitaura pungwe zviri sei, alright, vatozivana vachidaidzirana mwari kuseroko vozi vasimhu cells. Saka 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗄𝗏 aive nenyaya yemedha, akanga akauraya mupurisa mugwanzura stadium murecruit. 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗄𝗏 ari kunzi anga akadhakwa here mugwanzura stadium yamwe, ndobva angoenda kunoweta pawaya. Saka mupurisa akazviona vafanira marecruits aiva ainoenda kunomena manhingirina ayani achiri kuhere 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗄𝗏. Aiwa 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗏 akazofa, akafa kudhara. Saka 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗏 ari kunzi akaonekwa achiweta pane vanhu pachena, indecent exposure, achiweta akadhakwa. Saka mufanira ndobva amhanya akanoti but kweyo anga asikazvizivi kuti mupurisa akati kweyo uri kuweta panapa kuindawo batai munhu. Mudhara 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗏 atozuzvurudzwa nawafanira paya. Mupurisa 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗏 atoti hamusanibate ndiri shefu wako inini, hanzi shefu wangu anoitira weti pane vanhu. 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗏 abva agumbuka mufana yamubata, ndobva 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗏 abudisa pistol, ndobva apfura mufana point blank mugwanzura stadium, mufana achibva afira ipapo. I think government yeZimbabwe inoda kubviswa zvechisimba nokuti zvemaelection. General Sivanda ngaite plan. Sivanda wachanda atobviswawo futi. Courage. General Sivanda wanotomhanyiswawo futi. Andimona. Saka uri 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗏 akabva abudisa pistol paya, ndobva arova mufana waye pamhanzi apo. Point blank mufana achibva afa ipapo. Saka paakasungwa 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗏 akabva anzi remanded in custody. Ari in custody 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗏 anga ari kumacells, aigara kumacells ekusera aya. Saka anenge akatarisana nekumacells emacondemn. Saka iye nenyaya dzake dzemedha aibva anzwa macondemn achidaidzirana usiku. 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗏 anga asicharareka, achinzwa vanhu vachitaura usiku. Waiti kana ukadongorera musero unoona 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗏 akagara uso achingoverenga zvimapepa. Saka ndopakazoudzwa paya, ndopakazotanga nyaya dzake idzi dzekuti mabhanditi vakamutaurira vakati no, nyaya yako 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗏 uri kuenda condemn straight, uri kuenda kutambo kuseru, ukasaita plan panyaya iyi. Ndopakabva afunga kuti ita sei, zvikanzi ndopakatanga kutaura kuti inini nyaya dzakanzi right, wauya nenyaya yakanaka, chienda iwewe koti unotaura. Ndonyaya unofanira kutanga kutaura koti iyoyo kuti inini pfungwa dzangu dzasiri right, because ndairohwa stonye nemudhara. Saka ndada kunwa madrugs, ndakuita sei kuti pfungwa dzangu dziite bo, handisomboziva kuti nyaya yemhosva ndakaipara sei. Ndopakabva asungwa Banana manje. Nyaya yasvika kukoti, Banana achibva anzi no ngaatatwe Banana nenyaya 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗏. Banana achibva atatwa manje, atopika jeri kasodindo mudhara weBanana nenyaya 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗏. Atogara pamaximum prison paya. Andivaona. Saka tikutaura kuti why I'm saying this case, zvakashata zvinoitika muZANU-PF. Vana Mugabe vaizviziva, vana Muzenda vaizviziva, but hapana kana day 1 ravakatora action kuti mudhara ari kunama mapurisa. Timu yeTornadoes yese vakomana vaingunamwa vaya. PaUniversity of Zimbabwe apa timu yeUZTI vainamwa. Vafana vachinamwa, hatichatauri mazita, vachinamwa vafana, vachitengerwa malaptop, vachitengerwa hanzi makombiyuta, vachitengerwa zvina Banana, vachinamwa vafana pauniversity. But zvaitwa zvakashata zvese izvozvo zvaitika muZANU-PF. ZANU-PF hapana anga asingazvizive muZANU-PF. Kusvika vauya wana Jonathan Moyo ngongoni, dzimabatman ana Jonathan Moyo vaikakondinya kunama vanhu, vana Alumu Mpofu kunana ZBC vachingonamwa nana Jonathan Moyo. Zvakashata izvezvi zviri kuitwa muZANU. Hapana vanhu maZANU-PF anenge vachizviziva, but they don't take action. Ande muri kuona. Saka tiri kutaura kuti kwataakuenda kumanje kwashata guys. I think taakunopinda mucivil war. Because kana muna president ari kuita zvakashata zviri kuitwa naMnangagwa izvi, zvekuti anoenda kuRussia unosupporta invasion of Ukraine. That is very wrong. Kuti kudena mago, kuti denera nyaya manje. Andiyo, kuMzimbabwe, iwe, ndakaona Zimbabwe yaipanika. One, if they look at American embassy, Zimbabwe are not sure what's happening in American embassy. It is the largest embassy probably in Africa. And even in a basement, you know, in the ameno. Saka they are not sure the zvirimo mwe. Munogona kuye makauya zvombo, makazara zvombo mwe. Zimbabwe inogona kutorwa kuseni. Vana Mnangagwa vasadena mangwiro avazvikwanise zvavari kuita izvo. Andimon. Because at this juncture, the whole world is not happy about Russia. Russia is being bullied, causing unnecessary conflict, invading other countries. We went in 1998 to prevent invasion of DRC. We fought in Congo. And did you listen to Jimmy Kunaka on Gasikwere press conference? No. Andina at it. Anga achiti kudi. Andimrona. Saka nyaya iri kunetsa manje ndiye kutaura kuti kwatakuenda the civil war is imminent in our country. I want you to believe me. I've always said this time and again that the civil war is imminent in our country. Our children, our citizens, our fathers, our sisters and mothers, they are experiencing too much violence. And they waged war on Mnangagwa. And they have experienced too much violence for the past 2 decades. Zimbabwe has been subjected to too much violence for the past decades. This violence, it has caused even migration. It has caused migration. The people of Zimbabwe have migrated to different countries. They've moved from Zimbabwe to different countries. They are scattered all over the world. Zimbabweans are scattered all over the world. It's because of the intensity of violence that the citizens of Zimbabwe have experienced under ZANU-PF. And it has impacted even the countries where they went. It has impacted even Zimbabwe. I was surprised listening to Muchangwa when Muchangwa was saying if a country has got a lot of educated people, they will go outside the country, they will scatter all over the world because they are educated. These are type of leaders that you have who do not believe that when I get educated in Zimbabwe, I need to repay to the society. Why should I go and work in America if I can get the same salary in Zimbabwe? If I can get the same perks that I can get in America and Zimbabwe, why should I go outside the country? So we have got people who do not have heart with the people. Because now, look at the impact or the void that these professionals have left in our country. The impact of it to the countries that we moved. Takauya kunana UK. Ukatarisa zvinoitwa nemaZimbabweans munyika munomu. Zvimwe unotonyara kuzofamba uchitaura kuti muZimbabwe. We came from Zimbabwe, migrated into this country. Tikauya kuno, go to prison. How many Zimbabweans are in prison today for killing their women, for killing their wives? Vanouraya, vanobaya nemapanga vachiuraya magirlfriends muno, vachiuraya vakadzi vavo muno. Mukoma Yuda, Peter, zviri sei? Vachiuraya vakadzi vavo muno. That means the migration of Zimbabweans impacted even on the British, impacted even on countries that we went. Ukapinda majerum, unonzwa tsitsi ukaona maZimbabweans arimo. Vaningatoita spare zvangu probably ndivai vakaakuzwa rape nemabhuna. Because at one time I was accused of rape that I never committed, but by a Zimbabwean. Akusikutaura kwemunhu mukuru kuyakwe. Because ukanzwa zvakataurwa naMutsvanga zviya it shows that we have got leaders who do not value Zimbabweans. Obvious, it created a problem for diasporans. Same speech given by his wife, exactly. And the same speech given by Mnangagwa in Russia. It creates problems for Zimbabweans in the diaspora. Right now, when other governments see Zimbabweans in their country, they are scared of us. Because already we've taken sides of a terrorist government, the Russian government. So you never know what Zimbabweans in other foreign countries think about. Look at the people from Afghanistan. Those who fled war in Afghanistan coming to England or going to America are the same people that will uprise against the people, the British. They will go commit terroristic attacks. If you looked at what was happening in London Bridge, where this terrorist was holding a knife, stabbing anyone arukufamba mu London Bridge, stabbing, killing. They take cars, lorries, drive them in the vanhu vakangoungana vachidya vachita sei anongotora roro mhanya achipwanya achitsika vanhu vachiuraya. But ukamubvunza ukada kutsvaga kuti munhu yeye he migrated from Afghanistan probably akatiza kuondo achiuya kuno. Auya ku Britain, he takes a knife, he stabs British people on the streets. An incident happened in London Bridge, where a terrorist took a knife, stabbed innocent civilians, people who were doing their own cause for no apparent reason. Someone just felt like, oh, let me go and kill people. It's so sad. If you go to Manchester, people were massacred in Manchester. If you ask the reason why these people were massacred, it's so sad. And the people who committed those crimes were migrants from probably war-torn countries like Afghanistan, running away from Afghanistan, coming here to stab people. Quite a cool, guys. Papa Pinda call, an emergency call. Let me quickly sum up what I was saying at the end of Papa Live. So you see that immigrants from Zimbabwe coming to this country, not the United Kingdom only. We've got some in Britain, some in Africa, African countries, America, Canada, Australia. We are scattered all over the world. And someone is saying because we are too educated, then we have got the right to go into other people's countries. Look at how many Zimbabweans, men in the United Kingdom, who stabbed and killed their women, who stabbed and killed their wives, who stabbed and killed their girlfriends in this country. Then we do that assertion of being too educated is defeated by the crimes that we commit in these countries. It's because takatizana hamo kumusha. If you come to this country, you find Zimbabweans vazhinji vacho the economic migrants, people who move to find work, people who follow a particular career path. We've got doctors, we've got nurses, we've got engineers, we've got different people who were impacted by lack of employment in Zimbabwe, and they moved out of that country. These people, we call them economic migrants. They are social migrants as well, moving somewhere for a better quality of life. People who just feel like we can't survive in Zimbabwe. They just need this a better quality of life, or to be closer to family and friends. And they come to the UK, they go elsewhere, Australia, Canada, everywhere. Then we have got political migrants like 𝗀𝗵𝗿𝗄. I'm a political migrant. I moved to this country. I escaped the political persecution to come to the United Kingdom. And there are other people who escaped war. Those are political migrants. I'm a political migrant. I escaped persecution. I came to the UK because my life was now in danger in that country. I'm not an economic migrant. I am not a social migrant. But I am a political migrant. And these migrations, they are caused by a lot of different things. Some might be caused by environment, natural disasters. So get us under flooding can wipe away the whole town. But survivors on Garapai, then they need to move to other countries so that they can go and survive. So people choose a means and a way of migration, not because we are too educated. Shona, exactly. If you look at Kenya today, they've recognized Shona as one of its languages. People in Kenya, they now speak Shona. There are Shona people in Kenya, and they've been recognized as one of their languages in Kenya. So people, you choose the way you want to migrate. But someone, for a good example, for someone who moves to another country to enhance their career opportunities, those are like social migrants. Some people are forced to migrate, just like me. And someone who moves due to war or famine, the other people who fled war, who fled famine, like the one that I was referring to, that you flee war in Afghanistan, you come to the United Kingdom, you start stabbing people here, you start shooting people here. Now, I'm thinking of what the British will think about Zimbabweans when you have got a president who goes to Russia and is supporting invasion of Ukraine, whilst the whole world is saying Russia must get out of Ukraine. And anymore. So, there are quite a number of push factors that force people to migrate, that force people to leave. Some of you guys, you came here in search of enough jobs. Zimbabwe does not have enough jobs for its population. There are what we call natural disasters. You can't find them in Zimbabwe. We only probably had natural disaster in Nyanga, where a few number of people were affected, but a lot of people died. That can cause migration. Some can run away from war, like what you saw in Rwanda, DRC. A lot of Congolese are in Zimbabwe. Like Impara Chinochanda kwa Machesu Church is a Congolese who fled the war. Vamanotiza drought in Zara. Vamanotiza Nzara namo. Mazimbabweans mazhinji takatiza namo kumusha. Because namo yodi include a lack of services. Kwenda muharare chemo marara atakurwe amuna mvura yekunwa nyika ina magetsi. Imwe namo iyoyo. Vamwe takatiza lack of safety. The government can't guarantee my safety. Because the government is the perpetrator of violence. So there is a lack of safety in that country. People are not safe in Zimbabwe. I know. And this has seen the rate of crimes even in that country rising high. Mune kupara musha kunochikisa mZimbabwe. If you look at the past 5 years, the number of deaths or murders that were committed in Zimbabwe, probably the highest in SADC. And vamanotiza floods, vamanotiza poverty. What they come and search is very good standards of living. They search for better paying jobs. They want better education. They want to meet with the families. We miss our families. If you come, ndakazunzwa umwe bhuru wangu akauya kuno kubva kuZimbabwe. Akati if you look at England unofunga kuti wasvika kudenga. The environment is so attractive. And on. Zvekuti aitotaura kuti I don't think kuti ndingadzokera kuZimbabwe. I will never go and live in Zimbabwe again. This is what you see every Zimbabwean now. Akauya ku UK. Ukaona ansandaona muZimbabwe ari muno mu UK. Akabva kuZimbabwe achitaura kuti he wants to go and settle in Zimbabwe. Ansandambomuona. To be honest with you, ansandaona. Vakaenda vakanosettle kuZimbabwe vacho havana kumboita 2-3 years, they are back here. Because akugariki. Anon. Nasi kwada kutaura nemuZimbabwe nakadzoka kubva kuZimbabwe anotaura kuti ndai mega. Ndakamboenda mega. Hanzi Eustace, iwewe imboenda ka. Zvekungoti mizva hazvina basa izvi. Enda ndakuona. Kuti unoita makore mangani weZimbabwe. Because ndiri kuziva ndikakuudza nhamba yavandoziva vakadzoka. Vari kukutaura kuti never again you will make this mistake. Because vakaita zvekuti vachienda kunana Zimbabwe vakaenda vane tumapounds twavashanda vatakura. VakuZimbabwe tumapounds zvo hatuchapindika. Twakubuda chete. Every day hama dzinombotanga dzichiuya unotanga uchapfeka boots dzakanaka uchiporisha dzakatsvukira aina uchipfeka hembe dzakanaka. Dzosvika pakutsvanidzwa kuita madhende. Tumapaundi zvedu tuchibuda. Tunosvika pakupera tupaundi tuya usara usina. Hapana income iri kuuya. Kana uchirima unomirira income imwe chete pagore yekuti wakohwa unotengesa. Kana watengesa uibata manje. Ukaita 2 years kuZimbabwe wabva kuUK wakasimba. Wariwa mabuy one get one free unezvitama izvi. Uchitokanzwa zino unongofonera GP. Ambulance inoswera iri panzapa uchidzurwa zino panopamba. Unodzurwa zino munomba mako. Ungazviita kuZimbabwe izvozvo. And ndaitaura nemwe munhu. Ndaitaura unoziva here kuti vanhu vakauya muno muUK vakauya vari vafana vazhinji. Vazvidhara. Kana vakauya ne 20 years wane 40 years. Kana vakauya 2000 wane 43 years. Uri muno. For the past 20 years your board system is adjusted to the British requirements. For you to go back unorumwa ne umutu futi mosquito urutanga kurwa indairwara malaria every year. But if I tell you, if I go back now ndikarumwa malaria aya yakandurova handidzoki ndorova pasi. Saka system yangu haichazivi kundiprotect against malaria. Wobva waenda ndakugara permanent kumusha. Hazvibudi guys, hatisina kumbonyeperana. Hapana sofa wandakaona akaenda akati arinogara kumusha akakugara. Vazhinji vandakaona vese vakadzoka. Andona. This is the problem when we live in a country in my policies which are set based on violence. Kwa unongo Eustace ukaenda unongo chiimbirwa mpana. Kuti ukaona Dakota rauya mai paita mutengesi samwe mutengesi unongo chiimbirwa wagara muno mumba vanhu vachikuimbira panzapa. Vachikanda matombo vachipwanya mawindo vachipinda kuda kubaya kuti ufe. Haukudzokere futu. Zvako zvekuti I went back home 2015 for I was there. My old man ordered me back to UK and asked the Queen to make sure I'm okay and enlightened. Yeah, mdara wakatoona kuti you can't survive there, Eustace. You can't survive there. This is why you came back. Because that environment is you are too vulnerable in that environment. Hakuna madoctors, hakuna manesi, hakuna mishonga. Iwe wangojaira kuti ukamuka ipo papa utongodaidzira kuti madhamu kuti ndipe chipoloni wotoruma chipoloni. Hakuna kumusha uko. Zvipoloni zvinenge zvisimo mafiriji anenge achii magetsi kusina 19 hours kusina magetsi. Zvoora kazvipoloni. Saka pane a lot of advantages being in the United Kingdom than going home. Adon. Apa adzozi kana kumusha kana une mwana andonopinda forced marriage. Adon. Ukada kutasa Zimbabwe now is probably is the second country that you can see alcohol and substance abuse because vanhu havana chekuita. Doro rakumwa kumushanzi kuri kumwiwa zvinonzi zvichizvazve. Saka zvakawanda zviri kuitika kumusha. Zvekuti tiri kutaura kuti Mnangagwa please stop kuda kutidenhera hondo. Wani mkomanyama anoudza vanhu chokwadi nekudzidzisa our two in one. Thanks Titus. Mnangagwa ari kutidenhera hondo isingazokwanisa kupera. Hondo yake yaari kutsvaga he just want to stay in power. And that power ukamupa is confused. At this juncture Mnangagwa has forgotten that he is the president of Zimbabwe. He is in power. What is promising in the next 5 years, he should have done it. Ngaatange kuita tuone zvaari kupromisa. He's in power, he's running that country. We cannot survive with a government that promise and promise and promise. Whilst they're in power, they're still promising. As it's more about security and safety rather than material things or medical. Those are true to our Eustace. That country does not guarantee your security. That country does not guarantee your safety. This is why you are now you are a migrant. And on. You are perhaps a political migrant in this country. Because in your country, you cannot survive. If you go there, but you will be butchered today. You are not secured in that country. The government doesn't guarantee you safety. Because the government is the perpetrator of violence. Government-sponsored violence. No problem at nayo Zimbabwe. Saka urikuona now Mnangagwa is courting another conflict. Probably a civil war. Why? Because he wants to be in power. When he is in power, he's confused. He doesn't know what to do with the power. Whilst he's in power, he's promising you that I will do this when you vote for me. But you are still in power. You are voted. Why can't you do it now and show us? That's the problem we have. He will talk about land issue. Hey, land barons. Hey, you can't deal with the land barons now whilst you are in power. When do you expect to deal with the land barons? And all the land barons surround him. The Philip Chiangwas, they surround him. They give him money, they give him land, they build houses for him. So how is he going to deal with the land barons? And he is promising you to deal with the land barons when you have been in power for 6 years now. You have never dealt with the land barons, not even a day. And you are promising that if you vote for me, I will deal with the land barons. That doesn't make sense, Mr. Mnangagwa. Doesn't make sense. You talk about the country is reeling in poverty. The country has got no resources. Ambulance. Urutenga Ford from America. Ford is an American company. You buy my 4x4, my Ford to campaign. When it comes to buying ambulances for hospitals, you say we can't buy ambulances because we are under sanctions. Muchangwa told Mugabe that if you cannot dribble past sanctions, step down and allow some people who knows how to get those sanctions removed. Until now, we are stuck with someone who has failed. Mugabe failed, of course, but Mnangagwa has failed worse than Mugabe. Because these speeches were said when these people were supporting his ascendance. He should have learned from his people to say, look, Mugabe has failed to get sanctions removed. So we want Mnangagwa because he has learned something. So the sanctions might go. Until 6 years down the line, sanctions are still there. You have failed. And with due respect, Mr. Kanyemba, please go and live there. I didn't want to receive. I don't know. I don't say and so we have got a government. Even Vana Mchangwa, Vana Chihia, Vana Matemandada. When Mugabe was being removed, they were accusing Mugabe of violation of civil rights. To the extent that when Pamchinguru, they accused Mugabe of inviting sanctions in the country. But they have been in power now for 6 years without Mugabe. What have they shown us different from Mugabe? They've gone from bad to worse. They've created anarchy in our country. Mugabe never removed anyone from contesting an election. Mugabe is out who ya. Kana if what shada na president who ya tende tono votero. Kana no MP yako field ese. Taito wamwaito stanza ku field ama MP nekushaya mari. But Mugabe haikupa space to field your members of parliament. Mugabe haikupa space to field ama presidential candidates amunoda. Ana wakambotya zvikuti wakasukwera unzikasukwera cannot contest. Zvikuitwa 12 people in a flower that they cannot contest. We have never seen that. It's anarchy created by by Emmerson Mnangagwa. And ukada kuverenga the number of civilian casualties under Emmerson Mnangagwa and under Robert Mugabe government, you probably see the rate of killing ya Mnangagwa is higher than the rate of killing ya Mugabe. Ndakataura ndikati munane highest rate of killing the Emmerson kozoya Robert Mugabe kozoya Ian Smith. This is why when we compare brutality, we say Mnangagwa is worse than Mugabe is worse than Smith, because he has got the highest rate of killing, of casualties. And for over 20 years, vanhu vafa under Mnangagwa vakawandisa than under Mugabe, vakawandisa than Ian Smith. The rate of killing ya Emmerson Mnangagwa is probably the highest in SADC. Because ukatasa kuti vanhu vari kuurayirwa chi muZimbabwe. Zimbabwe has got about 15 million people as a population. Ukaona pa 15 million people pachiurawa vanhu 18, 20 people in just gatarise vanhu vakapfurwa 1 August. They were killed within a space of 10 seconds. 6 people were killed. In 2018, within a space of 2 minutes, 36 people were killed. That is probably the highest rate of killing ever in the world. Even the tsunami at that rate. And this is why we say that if we look at fatality statistics of Mugabe, fatality statistics of Emmerson Mnangagwa, fatality statistics of Ian Smith, Mnangagwa is probably the highest. Andimurwa. Saka tichitaura tichiti ngatimbofungai maZimbabweans. Taakuenda kuma elections 2023. President wenyu is busy boozing alcohol, chartering planes, flying to Russia to go and shop for arms of war. Achisiya zvipatara zvisina mushonga. Dai anga achifamba kuRussia achipinda achinoona zvipatara zveRussia achitaura kuti uyu mushini kana maakurasa mondipawo ndise paparire nyatwa. Russia inokuzairi hunzai ndege yenyu motakura mahara. Zvakafanana nemakombiyuta. Ndakamboenda kuTeesside University vachibvisa makombiyutas avanga nawo. Ndikavati makombiyutas munomadii, zvikanzi we take them for recycling. But kana tine munhu anomada kana uchimada iwewe tinonyorerana tokupa makombiyutas, but we monitor kuti uri kumaendesa kupi sezvauri kutaura. Saka ndaida makombiyutas ekuendesa patamba wadya primary school. Anditi more. Saka nyaya yatiri kutaura ndeyekuti patasvika apa tine vanhu vanoabuse alcohol as leaders, tine vanhu vanosmoka madrugs as leaders, tine vanhu vasinei nechekuita nekurarama kwepanyika nekuti ivo vari kurarama. Vanoenda vachinotidenhera hondo. America, Britain neUkraine havasi kutoda kuona chinhu chonzi Russia muUkraine. Vauti Russia buda, you are an aggressor. Imoita president akadzungaira anoenda kunosapota an aggressor. That means it's creating problems for you, it's creating problems for me, it's creating problems for the country. Azvishamise ukaona makuitika hondo. Vana Gaddafi vakaenda kwakaenda mikono. Iwe Zimbabwe is not as strong as Iraq. Mnangagwa is not as strong as Saddam Hussein. But Saddam wakainda. Pakaimbo Saddam waenda kwasare Bob. Saddam waenda kwasare Bob. Ande mruona. Because zvirikuitwa namnangagwa izvi zvine a lot of challenges achafaced nevana veZimbabwe, especially those domiciled in that country. Kuchatanga kushayikwa chikafu chaicho chekudya. Kuchashayikwa mvura yekunwa iri kushayika inogona kuzoshayisiswa zvachose mvura yekunwa. Zvirwere muchaona kuti zvirwere zvinowanda sei. Because ukada Zimbabwe inyika inorelaya nemishonga inodonetwa nana America nana Britain. Russia haina chayakambodoneta kuZimbabwe. Ndakaudza mumwe ndikati ukaenda kuZimbabwe undinongedzere building 1 yakavakwa neRussia Russia payakati Zimbabwe have been our friends from the war. Regaiti vagadzirire road, regaiti vadonate building. Hakuna kana one chinhu chatakabenefita kuRussia. Russia yakatengesera vana Joshua Ngomo pfuti, zvikwereti zvekuRussia. Pfuti dzainotorwa nenyere dzichiuya kuzorwisa mabhuno. Zvazviri zvikwereti zveRussia. Chakagona kuuzwa neRussia ipfuti. Asana mbona mota yeRussia ichidrivwa. KuRussia kunogadzirwa mota. Asana mbona mota yeRussia muZimbabwe kana bhazi ronzi rindire kuRussia. Asana mbona building yeRussia. Asana mbona kana road yakanzi yakagadzirwa neRussia. Chatinoona muZimbabwe munonzi this is automatic Kalashnikov 1947. Futi yakagadzirwa 𝗀𝗵𝗴𝗄𝗀𝗃 Kalashnikov in 1946 and put into full use in 1947. The AK assault rifle ndoya unoona muZimbabwe yinzi yakabva kuRussia, ndo pfuti yeRussia. Zvinhu zvinofarira Russia zvekuparadza, zvehondo zvekuparadza ndo zvinofarwa neRussia. Saka uchiona Mnangagwa achifarira Russia, nokuti inofarira zvekuparadza. Asi ukaenda kuZimbabwe zvandakataurira vanhu ndikati ngatarisei Harare, ngatarisei Zimbabwe. Ukaona boundary inonzi map yeZimbabwe yayi, maboundaries ayayi akadraftwa naQueen Elizabeth, akadraftwa nemaBritish. MaBritish vakataura vakati this is our protectorate. Regai ndikuratidze. Andi muri kuona panapa Republic of Zimbabwe. Iyi Botswana kagreen aka ndoka tipoti country kaZimbabwe. Kakaita green ukona kutenderera kudai kagreen maBritish vakadraw a map kuti ndo territory yedu. This is a British territory. It's got nothing to do with us. It's a British territory. But this we fought kuti chitipai territory yemaBritish takuitonga, tikaitora takuitonga. Ukapinda muterritory iyoyo mune Harare ndo capital city in Salisbury. Ukauya kuno kuUK ukaenda down south wakunosvika kuna London ndo kune Salisbury. Ndo wakati capital city. Zvoro wati pangoda ndo kwakabva Sisi John Rhodes vaigara muSalisbury. Vakazoenda kunogadzira kanyika kavo kavakati akandokeda. Vakakati akakanonzi kaRhodesia. I'm Rhodesia. Capital city kwandakabva kuSalisbury. Vakavaka maBritish vakagadzira road, vakalaya sewage system, vakavaka dzimba, vakavaka mabuildings, government buildings, vakatuta motikari kubva kuna Britain vachienda vachinoisa dzimwe dzaibva kuna maPeugeot motikari dzikasara muZimbabwe. Handina kumboona motikari yeRussia, handina kumboona road yeRussia, handina kumboona kana mapombi kana chimvura kana chizve zvakabva kuRussia ndini. Chatakazoona chaibva kuRussia ipfuti, ma-AK nyere, zvekurova vanhu vakanga vavaka Harare, zvekurova vanhu vakanga vadrowa Zimbabwe, zvekurova vanhu vakavaka Mutare, kurova vanhu vakavaka Masvingo, kurova vanhu vakavaka Bulawayo, vakaisa maindustry muBulawayo, kurova vanhu vakavaka macities atinawo muZimbabwe. They were all designed by the British. Hakuna kana city one yakaona yakambosponzwa kana kudesignwa neRussia. ZANU-PF has been in power for 43 years. Havana kana location one ravakamutsa. Kana city yavakacreata vega kuti panapa pasango hapasina chinoita pana ngati create city yakanzi zvakati toisa industry toisa chi hapana for the past 43 years we renamed the British seats. Ma cities akanga aitwa nemaBritish ndo we renamed them. Vana Sinoya we said Karoi, we said Chinoi. Vana Katuma we said Kadoma. Vana Gwelo we said Gweru. Vana Kwekwe we said Kwekwe. Kwekwe we said Kwekwe. QQ ameno QQ we said Kwekwe. Ameno Bulawayo ninge ndo yakaseva ere. Vana Fort Victoria we said Masvingo. Vana umtali, we said kwamtare. Those are gona chete. We renamed this. We never created any city in our country. Saka nyaya dzatokutaura ndedzekuti ukada kuenda munyika medu, healthcare system has collapsed. Russia in a very good healthcare system. Madoctors mazhinji vanotrainwa kuRussia. Madoctors mazhinji vanotrainwa kuRussia. But isusu hatina madoctors from Russia vari kuuya vachishandawo muZimbabwe. We had expatriate doctors vaibva kunana Germany, vaibva kunana Britain. Expatriate teachers vaibva kuBritain. I've never seen a Russian expatriate doctor in our country. And on. Tikaita disasters, Russia in a very good disaster management systems, but they never even send kana motikari dzekudzima moto chaidzo. Vanotumira pfuti. Vana munaka vanoenda unotenga pfuti nenyere. That cannot develop a country. And on. That cannot develop a country. Saka ndiri kutaura kuti patasvika apa, we need change of leadership in our country. We don't need my leaders anofamba vachinotsvaga pfuti. We are not going to kudya pfuti kana kumwa pfuti. Tiri kufa nekorera muZimbabwe. Tiri kufa nekorera. Havasi kana kumbouya kuzotibatsira kana kutipa mishonga. Tiri kufanana na malaria. Hapana kana mishonga yatinoona kubva na Russia. My doctors, vanawo very good doctors. But they don't come to Zimbabwe kuya kuzotibatsira. Kana vakuda kuya kuZimbabwe vanongodaidza munanga kuya utore pfuti. Go shoot them. Go kill them. Russia is too violent. We cannot be friends of Russia. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. We can't be friends of Russia. Because hapana chatiri kudzidza kuRussia. Ukada kubvunza vanhu vakaenda kuhondo takaenda kunotrainwa chiuto kuRussia. They are very good at that. Training a terrorist to destabilize a nation. They are very good at that. We don't want that. We want a country that knows Zimbabwe has got a 96 or 99% unemployment rate. What do they want? They want farming equipment to widen their agricultural inputs. They want fertilizer plants. If we can have one in Chinoi, we can have one in Masvingo, we can have one in Gweru. If we've got 3 fertilizer plants in that country, that will employ a lot of people who produce fertilizer, people will buy. We need banks to issue loans to the farmers. We don't need farmers to go to Reserve Bank. We don't need farmers to go to government. Government is not a loan institution where people will go and get a loan from a government. No. Government funds must facilitate development, not to give someone a loan. Kutapa judge 500,000 as a loan. Zvakatanga rini izvozvo kuti judge kuti government yakuacta sebank ichipa maloni. Zvakatanga kurini. Timbozvinzwa nguva dzaMugabe hatinombozvinzwa izvo kuti government inopa loan. Mabhengi ndo anopa loan. Okupa interest ozobhadhara. Pandokushamisika loan kuti yakupuwa negovernment. Zvichibva kupi? Judge haanombouya kuzokumbira kuti anoda loan. Ungoya ungonzi judge ningi yautore 500,000 nemotikari nechinemba. Zvakabva kupi izvozvo? Andimona. Saka I am telling you guys kuti patasvika apa this government yakuda confrontation, and the consequences of their action, of their address today in Russia, you will see them very soon. We're gonna see a lot of uprising in our country. Muri kuzviona maimanje, muchazviona izvo. This will occur very soon. Because this warfare yavatanga ikai nema superpowers yekuti munoenda unongotaura nonsense zvakonzera kufa kwevanhu vakawanda. Zvakonzera kufa kwevanhu vakawanda. Muchazondiudza. Ininika hanzi akuruma zano, akuruma nzeve ndewako. Kwete hanzi akuruma nzeve ndi Mike Tyson. Ayo, akuruma nzeve ndewako. Hondo haina kumbonaka, guys. Haina kumbonaka zvachose. Isusu we experienced war kuma 1970s, and we understand when it's war, it's war. I understand it. It's like suffer during the war. Taka suffer. inina nhasi ndogara ndichitaurira ndakatanga grade 1 1981 ndanga ndane 10 years chitanga grade 1 takatadza kuenda kuchikoro nyaya yehondo takamboenda nana 𝗀𝗵𝗿𝗄𝗴𝗄 primary school chikabombwa tikabvapo tikaenda munana karoi tikapinda muchikoro kutsvaga nzvimbo tikadzishaya zvikoro zvakazara kwakusina zvikoro zvakawanda makore iwayo ndikanodzidza kupurazi ndikatotiza kupurazi rwizi rwazara ndakatambura kuenda kuchikoro kuzotanga kuzobvumwa patambo wadya 1981 kwakutanga kuti ndadzigara manje pano ndakudzidza. It was because of war. Saka kunga mukaona kwaitika an outbreak of war munyika medu, vazhinji venyu vafana munenge muri pa front line ndopa muchaona reality yekuti hondo chii. Hondo iyi vazhinji vanongoinzwira pa TV kana muchiona mafilimu. Hondo haisi filimu baba. Ukapfurwa pafilimu unobva wabviswa pafilimu wonzi chienda kumba. Nokuti wapfurwa pafilimu. Ukapfurwa muhondo uri kuenda muguva, you will never be seen again. As you are ready for anything taneta, better hondo yachiuye kusikufa ndekupi. Ndo zvakutaura muZimbabwean wese. MaZimbabweans ese akutaura kuti kusiri kufa ndekupi. Vanhu vazvipira izvinezvi. Because tine ma-leaders vasinga consider vanhu, the feelings of the people. Kuti mukaramba makadzvanya aya haasi ma-Russians, haasi ma-Chinese, these are Africans. Ma-Africans ukaramba wakavadzvanya vanotora action. They know what can be done to free themselves. And action, to be honest guys, action will be taken. Because people want to alleviate the causes of terrorism in our country. We all know the causes of terrorism in our country. We all know why Mnangagwa is behaving like this or acting like this. People want to eradicate or alleviate poverty. And they can only do that by uprising. Because literacy rate and what asichashandi zvazvo. Because akadzidza nasina kudzidza. We are all suffering in that country. Unoona munhu ane degree re-engineering achitengesa madomasi. Mai vake vakamuendesa kuchikoro wakatengesa mombe, wakatengesa chii kuti adzidze aite engineering degree, vari kutengesa madomasi. Iwewe nedegree rako re-engineering namai vako mugere pamusika muri kutengesa madomasi mese. Hapana chicharatidza kuti wakaita engineering degree racho. Hapana. So people of Zimbabwe now are saying enough is enough. They want to alleviate this poverty. This is why vachitaura vari muZimbabwe vataura kana iri hondo ngaiuye. Vanhu havachatyi, vanhu vaneta. The government has been an aggressor. The government has been a perpetrator of violence. Now vanhu havasina kukutizira when the government perpetrates violence. This is why you see now people, they urge themselves, they are encouraging each other. Enough is enough. Kusiri kufa ndekupi. Let's go and die fighting. Saka zvishamise izvozvo kuona chimurenga chichitanga muZimbabwe. Chinogona ngotanga chimurenga chakaipa chekuti vana Mnangagwa vakasava very careful, havana chavanobuda nacho munyika. Havana chavanobuda nacho. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at Rwanda, a very good example about civil war, go to Rwanda. Try to think about the causes of Rwanda genocide or Rwanda civil war. Analyze the consequences of that civil war. Let's analyze them. Ukada explainer, I can't explain to you, but I'm saying, sit down, think about the causes of Rwanda genocide. Think about the efforts that the international community put to end that war. That was a tribal conflict that saw a lot of people being killed, a lot of people being massacred. But we are sick and tired of these charlatans. Now is the time to take action. Honestly, every Zimbabwean, let's take action. Let's take action. Ukaona, it's a time bomb now. People are boiling inside. People are boiling inside. People are hate inside. This is not a Ndebele or a Shona tribal issue. this is a citizen's issue against an oppressive regime. And this oppressive regime, haina majority of tribe in it. Ine makaranga arimo, ine mandebele arimo, ine mazezuru arimo, ine manyika arimo, all oppressing the people of Zimbabwe. So it's no longer, it's not a tribal issue that people would fight on tribal lines. No. No. Let's be very honest. Let's be honest, guys, for now. People were not happy, especially those in ZANU-PF. The genuine ZANU-PF supporters are not happy about the way Mugabe was removed. Even in other African countries, this is why you see Mozambique is not in good books with Mnangagwa. Botswana doesn't like Mnangagwa. Where's South Africa? Zambia, because they regarded Mugabe as an icon of Africa. So they embarrassed Mugabe. And that loss of Mugabe, yakabvisa a popularity as ZANU-PF. And look now, they are using the cost to, that's gonna spark an uproar or an uprising. And very soon we will be seeing violence increasing in our country. Genocide in Rwanda is here. That was on tribal issues. But Zimbabwean side man, I say Mandevele ne Mashona. The government, the oppressors, include Mandevele, Mashona, Mandevele, Makaranga, different the tribes oppressing people of Zimbabwe, oppressing citizens. Ukatasa ku Rwanda, Rwanda yakarwadza. Because yakasiya almost 1 million people killed. Almost 1 million people killed. So kuti dai pasina nyika dzimwe dzakazoya kuzopindira kuti hondo imire iyoyi considering human rights. Varume ingadai so Rwanda iri kubhebha kutaura kwatiriita. Saka thanks to the international response to those gross violations of human rights. As I am wrapping this presentation tonight, I have urged the international community to respond to whatever is happening in Zimbabwe. Failure to respond, this is their fault. The people of Zimbabwe will turn Zimbabwe into Darfur. I'm telling you, they will turn Zimbabwe into a war zone because the international community is not coming to help people. And sadly, the international community is fully aware of all the appeals that have been made by Zimbabweans. Unfortunately, these people, I don't know if they want to do scientific discovery or they want to achieve what with Zimbabwe, I don't understand. But these people must try to interfere in Zimbabwe before there is a civil war. I'm being honest here. I'm analyzing the situation that is happening in our country, where millions of Zimbabweans in 2008 were displaced. Until today, millions are being displaced in our country. The police, the youth militias are given police uniform and they are brutalizing people. All right. So, if you look at Zimbabwe, the entire population is traumatized. If you look at Zimbabwe, there is a video circulating. I've shared that video. Ashi, close my door, my dear. Mufesa asingagona kuzvitengera bhutsu. Akapfeka zibhachi rakaora rinenge riri kubuda makonzo. Ari kutaura mavhenda kuti vafana emimba chayazupura muchakwira panapa. Kana warega kukwira uchaexplaina. That is traumatizing the population of a country, traumatizing citizens, people who survived 2008 massacres, people who survived 2018 massacres, and they are still being intimidated. ZANU-PF. Varume, I am saying this. Good. My state institutions don't force people to go to Marale ZANU. Because ZANU-PF will collapse soon. tomorrow my videos aya kana wobvunzwa usazoramba. You are committing crimes against humanity. You are committing crimes against humanity. Boss mangwana mchabvunzwa. Kuti handiwe here waitaura kuti muchamisa ngaurawe mudhara iwe. What were you trying to say? Kana docket rovhurwa wakunziwa imboenda kuchikurubi. Kana wakuchikurubi tokuru wachekera pasi. Yamakwana ndakashiya ukabvunza musungu waisakapika pachikurubi anokudza kuti kune inonzi chekera pasi yaye. Yeah, we love you. We love you. Because zvamurikuita ndo zvamurikuona mukaenda kuRwanda, people are following. Uraya vanhu, they are being followed now. Mutemo wakushanda. Kana wakaponda vanhu wakatukamira uchipondesa vanhu, mutemo wakushanda. We've got a lot of Rwandese who do not even want to go back home because of the genocide they did in Rwanda. So don't be counted tomorrow. Desist from forcing people to do things that they don't want to do. If it is an election, it's not a war. Unless if you want to, if ZANU-PF is declaring war against the citizens are happy to engage you in any form of war. Kana mukadashi gorira, ma citizens are kuti uyaitrowane. Kana zvamada toita zvamurikuda. But ma videos aya ndakataurira neZimbabwe ndikati continuai kutora ma videos. Musaregere. Use your phone. Shandisai any means you have to film these idiots. Tomorrow they must be held accountable. What you say is what you will be held accountable for. What you do is what you will be held accountable for. Inenge isiri witch hunt because my videos, video evidence inenge iripo, which is acceptable in any court. Because you have destroyed the independence of Zimbabwe. Zimbabweans gained independence in 1980 from Britain. When they gained independence, they were supposed to engineer peace. ZANU was supposed to engineer peace. Organize people to coordinate people to become one nation. But you were wrong side of the law. Uchidaidzira pane vanhu tichamisa tingaurawe. Uchimira uchiadresa vanhu uchiti tichakuurayai. Itoita kuti Zimbabwe painosununguka kana ndondo painotanga unenge uri mwena. Because those are human rights abuses. Every Zimbabwean has got basic rights that should be protected by the government. And the government is a signatory to United Nations, whatever. So if you don't abide by that, you'll be held responsible. Usazochema kuti nini I'm being victimized. Ausi victimized. Mabasa arikuita nhasi mangwana ndo achakumukira. Vana Mnangagwa unosaka wachiona vachikwira vachitakura maprivate jet negoridhe vachinotengesa vachitenga dzimba dzekuzotiza kunogara ikoko. Iwewe haukwire ndege naMnangagwa kuenda. Unosara waiti pfeta akubvunza. Kana tokubvunza, we are not going to be lenient. We will let the law take its course. Ndopa uchazoona chokwadi. Kuti zvana reconciliation zvezve hakuna kwazvinoshanda. Because people will be taking political action. To you today, you are mobilizing one violently, attacking people. And saka kana zvodzoka mangwana tichaonerera. And inini ndo mashoko angu andinawo anhasi manheru andiri kutaura kuti vakomana imimi ndoda kuti musare zvakanaka tozosangana pane ramangwana. Because what I'm encouraging people is to come and see and go and tell. Manzo mashoko andataura. Ndati inini I'm encouraging Zimbabweans. I'm encouraging the international community. I'm encouraging anyone to come to Zimbabwe and see what is happening. Go and tell what you have seen. Naropedza. Come, see, go, tell. These are how many words? 4 words. Come, see, go, and tell. Naropedza. Kana usina kubata zvandataura panapa, kana wanga uchimbo idipfe uchirova vanhu, they consider consider your position again. Challenge yourself, reflect. Kundoramba here ndichiruwa vanhu. My actions are ndira, what are they achieving? Are we achieving anything? Pasina kuponda vanhu. Saka ndo challenge your thinking. Think. Funga. Wakagara po wakagara. Good night. Andingaita pungwe ichitaura. Because hey, zvinoita kuuya so kana ndotanga kuda kuzviparidza izvo. Kuti kwataka kuenda kunonyudza. Kwataka kuenda kundiri kuona civil war chaiyo. And I've said it's imminent. Nadimubate kutaura kwangu. Good night.